I will firstly start from introducing credit ease. I'd like to ask you to raise your hand if you are familiar with the concept peer-to-peer lending. Okay, peer-to-peer lending, P2P, it is a sort of financial a model that people could borrow their money to people without the financial intermediaries, and with the technology of internet, with the usage of smartphones, and with the expansion of technology, actually it becomes possible for people to freely lend to people. And credit ease, we started, the company was started in 2006. And the founder of Credit Ease, Mr. Ning Tang, he was deeply influenced by Professor Yunus, the Bangladesh Nobel Literature. And because during his study in the university, he went to Bangladesh for an internship, and he learned from how to provide loans from the loan officers of Grameen Bank. And then after graduation, he worked in Wall Street for nearly 2 decades. After coming back to China, he started to be an investor, a VC in China. But one of his investees was providing trainings to the university graduates in China to provide the IT trainings. And at that time, there was only banks in China to provide loans. And the students were not able to afford that kind of expensive cost at once. So Ning Tang decided to lend the money to them by himself. And then his friends joined him. Then they started this company. So actually, after nearly 9 years of operation, this company has grown into a company of 46,000 employees all over China, and covering 180 cities and 48 rural areas. It's not because that the company is very energetic or it's very smart, just because the traditional financial system in China was not sufficient, was not effectively providing services to both the borrowers and the lenders in China. For example, the wealth management industry, people in China were just able to invest their money to real estate, or put their money in the banks, or go to the stock market. So that's why there are bubbles in these markets, and people had to enjoy a lower interest from the banks. And the borrowers, they were only able to borrow from the banks or black market. So Credit Ease, the company started and didn't intentionally, but stepped into a blue sea. So they had the opportunity to grow. So we are going to share our experience in poverty alleviation using the methodology of social finance. Our CSR practices, we write CSR reports. We encourage our employees to be volunteers like the other companies. We donate money, but we are also consider our CSR strategic. So we have been developing different programs, and you have Dr. Samsil just mentioned that we are also working hard to support the green SMEs in China. And for the wealth management clients, we are providing charitable trust to start to cultivate the way of social finance practices in China. So about poverty alleviation, actually we started from our strength the peer-to-peer lending platform. Then, to provide more fund for our partners, we developed the first wholesale fund for the MFIs, the microfinance institutions, which was the program was supported by Mr. Bai. He was the leader of both China Association of Microfinance and TCF. And then we start to realize that our practice in social finance is investment. So we started to measure the social performance, and we faced some challenges. Then we started to change it into social performance badge. So I'm not only here to present to you how good we have been doing. We are also here to share the lessons we learned and how we adjust. So in 2009, we launched the Yinongdai peer-to-peer platform. Yinongdai, the Chinese name means the loan appropriate and good for the farmers. So our urban lenders, most of them are white collars. They are able to lend on the website to the women from the microfinance institutions. I will go into the details of these four programs a bit later. In 2011, we realized that the funding from the Yinongdai platform was not enough to support the MFI partners. So we started to learn from the international research, and we innovated to create the first wholesale fund for the MFIs. The name is Inclusive Number 1. In 2013, we started to search for different methodologies to best evaluate the impact we create through social finance. And after a certain period of study, we realized that we did not have many choices, but we worked with Grameen Foundation because they have already localized one tool from the Poverty Progress Index they've been using worldwide into China Poverty Scorecard. We promoted the tool to 4 microfinance institutions, but found that there were difficulties. I will go into the details. So in 2013, we learned from a series, which is a microfinance knowledge network. I think it's in Europe. It started from France. And Kiva. Kiva is also a very famous peer-to-peer lending platform for the Americans to lend to developing countries in the US. So we learned from them, and we developed our own system of social performance badge so that we could let our investors online and offline to learn about what your invest has brought to the society. Here I'd like to share with you the programs. This is the front page of Yinongdai. Yinongdai, it is like eBay, or it's like an online shopping platform that you could see who is needing what amount of money and how long does she need it. Currently we have over 141,000 lenders and over 14,000 borrowers in rural areas, and the total amount we supported, we delivered is over 100 million. Actually, the start of Yinongdai was only mouth by mouth. We developed the website and told people to come and lend money, but starting from 100 RMB, which is quite convenient for people. But you might know that in China, people are not very interested in this kind of activities, especially after the philanthropic area sector was heavily impacted by some scandal brought from the Red Cross. So we were highly challenged. But surprisingly, with the development of our wealth management business, we realized that actually the high net worth individuals they are very interested in this kind of program. So we started to introduce them offline to get on the website and take a look. And nowadays we have the goal that our clients would be comfortable to invest 1% of their investment to social finance. Otherwise, the MFIs might be lacking of funds. So this is the page that we have developed IT program, IT system for the cooperatives in China to manage their business, to manage their loans, and we plan to expand our support not only to the MFIs but also to the cooperatives in China. So with Yunongdai platform. With the Yunongdai platform, we are able to connect the lenders with the borrowers through the website. This is how it looks like. You can choose whom you'd like to lend to. And the MFIs, the microfinance institutions in China, they started from international programs from the United Nations, UNDP, World Bank, and also some programs supported by China Academy of Social Sciences and the China Women's Guild, China Women's Federation. It was very popular in years of 1990s, but after, like Mr. Bai always quoted from Professor Yunus, that China MFIs are not able to take deposit, so they are actually crippled. They are not able to sustain themselves, only depending on borrowing or on support from abroad. But for these years, actually after the year 2000, China has become, people would consider that we are getting close to the mid-income country, so the support from abroad are reduced. And we started to, actually Credit Ease stepped into the scene and started to realize we were able to support. We filtered actually the most reliable and the most sustainable MFIs in China. Nowadays, we have around more than 100 MFIs functional in China, and we showed the 22 of them. And they are mostly in the west or in the north area, which is relatively poor, so that we think we could create more impact. We sourced them also from China Association of Microfinance. And in 2011, we tried, our wealth management business was not very popular at that time, so we did not have that many of people to invest. So we started to create this wholesale fund. And the main investor was Caixin Group, which owns the largest, one of the largest financial magazines in China. And they worked with Credit Ease. And Credit Ease also worked with the industry, the experts, to issue a loan of 3 years with the annual interest of 3%. Actually, the first phase was finished, and the result was pretty good. We believe that the MFIs benefited from the loan, from the investment. And the phase 2 was issued last year. We worked with China Association of Microfinance. Since that, those were led by Mr. Bai, is led by Mr. Bai and Peking University to start the practice. Then in 2013, we think it became urgent for us to show our investors, the wealth management clients, and people lend online, that what impact we have created. This is a map which shows the usage of PPI, Poverty Progress Index, developed by Grameen Foundation. We filtered the different methodologies. First off, Credit Ease sent people to learn from Social Performance Index, which was developed by CGAP, and it combined of 34 leading international development organizations worldwide. And but actually, the Social Performance Index was quite complicated in China. Professionals from different MFIs, they have to learn they have to spend a lot of time to learn. It has 7 columns and over 40 indicators, so it was quite difficult for the MFIs to evaluate their performance. And the PPI was mainly focused on poverty alleviation, which we think is the most urgent and the most needed in China. So, and luckily that in 2012, a company named Yuchen Purong worked with experts from different organizations to localize the PPI into China Poverty Scorecard. Why it becomes a scorecard is because actually, at the beginning, Running Foundation tried to get the data from National Bureau of Statistics, but they were not able to provide accurate data because of lacking the tracking in rural areas. So CAM and the China Academy of Social Sciences worked with them to connect people, connect the experts from also different universities and organizations to create the scorecard based on expertise, based on the debating and on their experience in poverty alleviation. So in the end, they developed this scorecard with 16 questionnaires, and you could just get into a household and look at their the construction of the house, what material is used to build the house. Do they have running water? Do they have toilet indoors? What kind of energy they are using? And how many people are farmers? How many people are in school? And how many people are above the age of 60? How many people are below the age of 18? These kind of questions and observation could easily find out the poverty line of the area. And in each county, they have to define the standard line of poverty, define the poverty line. This is how they work together with the village officers and with the school teachers to define what kind of people are the poverty line, which score is the MFI trying to serve. So for the branches, which I show here, and the loan officers, we can easily evaluate that if they are focusing on poverty alleviation, if the investment that we provide is helping this area. Also, yes, for the loan officers, previously they only were encouraged by financial performance. That's why in China, actually many MFIs, they tend to lend to the richest people in the villages. But we try to change the situation by using this tool. But the fact was that we went to Qinghai province for. I'd like to turn back. We went to Qinghai province, which was very close to Tibet. And we realized that the China Poverty Scorecard became not so functional than before. And because not all rural areas are farmers, and not all of them are migrant workers, we ignored a certain group of people. they are rely on all small business dealers. There are a certain group of people they hunt, and they also collect Chinese medicine material from the field, and that's their income source. And if we use China poverty scorecard, we lose the accuracy of evaluating the poverty level of this kind of household. So in 2014, after worked with 4 MFIs, we started to find other better ways to show our investors and to encourage them to learn about social performance. This is the badges we have created, we have decided this year, and we are now promoting the badges to our partner MFIs. We chose this not based on the international experience, because in Cuba they have different perspectives. They have like community empowerment, which we think is a little bit sensitive in China, and also they have innovations, which we think might be difficult to evaluate. And also series, they have similar approach and different standards. So after consulting from experts like Mr. Bai and other experts, we decided to choose these eight badges. And also because our wealth management investors are highly concerned about these areas. So about the future, we will continuously explore what finance could create for our society, and what innovations we could bring to poverty alleviation through social finance. We believe that for the future of finance, internet undoubtedly it's very big in China. Everyone is talking about internet finance, but we think that internet is just making finance more effective, more faster. It's just for efficiency, but social finance changes the goal of finance. It makes people to consider social return, to consider what finance is fundamentally bringing to the society. It's not only making money. Inclusive finance, it's a long history, and it will continuously grow. And Robert Schiller, we have his book in our office, and everyone has to read it when they come to our department. Thank you very much, and I'd like to let the experts judge what God knows. Thank you very much.